and also, this time, I actually have a pregame show, and this is a really cool movie that I really enjoyed. It's called Dora-Heita. And the title translates out into something like, I understand, like Playboy. And this is a neat movie. It's a 2000 movie directed by Ichikawa Kon, and it was written by Akira Kurosawa, Kobayashi, Kon, and Ichikawa, and I think another fourth, like just renowned, sort of like golden age of Japanese cinema developer or director. I'm not remembering his name, but it was written by them, and Ichikawa finally was able to make the movie in 2000. And it is a stunning, wonderful, awesome, cool little movie. I really dig it. Evening, Dustin. It's good to see you. And let's see. The thing I like about it, it kind of follows the exploits of a character who's sent to clean up the excesses of the red light district of a particular Han province, and he's kind of a Captain Kidd type character. Captain Kidd, the sort of infamous privateer, the pirate who hunts pirates, and he's not this character is not explicitly that, but he is somebody whose capacity for vice and excess is so great and so sincere that he is the best person to actually enter into a gray zone or a red light district or what have you, and be accepted as one of its own, while also having the end goal of the lord of the province to get it cleaned up. And so it's really interesting. He has methods that suggest alliance with the underworld, and but his alliance is with the Lord. So it's this kind of character, and I always enjoy them when they show up. There's one little nice part here where he's sort of like bantering with the elders of the province. That sort of gives you a peek into his character, sort of very indirectly. The elders are justifying the existence of the gray zone. This is actually really interesting if you have played Yakuza Like a Dragon, because this sort of topic comes up as a sort of pivotal point in its depiction of Japanese society, modern Japanese society. And so they're talking about the money that comes in from this district as being crucial to the Han's operation. And just as every house needs a toilet, the world needs its share of filthy places. It goes against the natural order to try to eliminate such places. I wonder if our Lord can understand this. I merely speak from my elderly heart. And to which he responds, it is as you say, and this is where he kind of turns this around very cleverly, I think. And yet the cleanest room in a samurai's house should be his toilet. Isn't that what we've all been taught? And that's very clever, of course, because you don't let things go that have the likelihood of getting dirty very fast. And so, yeah, it's part statement of his MO, but also part a confession of who he is, because he is excess, he is vice, he is gluttony, and at the same time, he's also the most noble. He has the greatest capacity for being a good person or being a good force. And the last thing that's really cool about this is it has a Chanbara moment where there's a really cool sword fight, and oh yeah, this is really cool. So this is if you watch any of the sort of like Fukusaku, Evening Dream Bomb, Evening Mahafun, if you watch any of those like old crime movies from like the 70s and 80s, you'll recognize oh god, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, Bunta. And it's really cool. He's here as an older man, and usually he's sort of known for his heyday when he's kind of looking sharp and scrappy in his 30s and 40s, and here he is as an old man. And so that's kind of cool. But yeah, the way the sword fight is orchestrated is just amazing, and it's very Kon Ichikawa. There's very theatrical and very theatrical in the sense of manipulating the background and the environment to communicate the moment more so than or alongside the actual performance. So it starts out with, of course, our hero besieged by a horde of swordsmen, all of them coming out of the closets, and courtyards and everywhere to attack, and really beautiful set design here with the repeating patterns and sort of like matching the colors of their dress. Yes, Dreambalm, I agree. That's I feel like it tells a compelling story that is neither sort of like morally black or morally white, and shows something a little more complex about who we are, and I also like that. Oh, Evening Shelter. It's good to see you. This is a movie called Dora-Heita. It's spelled, the English spelling is Dora-Heita. And it's a Kon Ichikawa movie. It's awesome. And this is kind of one of the things that I love about it is, instead of sort of like glorifying in the violence of a good Chanbara fight, which of course as a samurai movie it leads up to, the way the scene progresses is amazing, because it starts in a manner that you might be used to if you watched a lot of these things, where sort of mid-distance camera, a lot of chaos. If you don't want to get too deeply into the sort of like sword art choreography, it's a lot of close-up action, close-up to mid-tier action, and a lot of camera work, so you don't have to see the sword slashing and everything. But it actually really leans into that really heavily, kind of artfully. And as it goes on, it increasingly goes from mid-tier, and the background gets darker and less defined, and it starts getting closer up, and the background, the shadows get harsher, the light is much more sort of like cleaving everything right down the middle. The swords themselves are the only things that have any kind of like really vibrant light. And again, it gets closer, it gets darker, it's harder to see, and again, like that, even when it does get detail, it has these really bright, sharp looking swords that overwhelm everything else with how bright they are, that everything else sort of stands out. Oh yeah, Tokyo Olympiad is amazing. I recommend that highly also. It's if you like what he does there, you'll like this. And ultimately what it does, oh yeah, this is something else. While it's doing that, all that sword fighting and all that close-up, it does something that movies typically don't do if it's like a heroic Chanbara moment. Give me 1 second, let me show you what this is. So typically, if you've got like a heroic Chanbara moment, right, it's you know, you got maybe some rousing heroic music, or even if it's just dead silence, you've got the grunts and exertions of combat. And this actually plays ascending chords, like horror movie chords, that like this. Let me see. I think it's G. Is it G and D sharp? Let's see. C, D. Yeah, this right here. Let me see if I can. See this? No sword for me, I'm afraid. So that's the music that plays during this, and there is like what it does, there's no real connection with the rhythm of the combat. It's just this sort of flat, distressing, unsettling, discordant sound that increases in that sort of increases like that until it gets to the silent part where everything is super dark, lights are off, the sword fights, the swords, it's doing this thing that I don't know what this technique is, but where you've got like a shadow copy of every visual sort of slowly moving as the combatants move, and then once that finally ends, and also this is all in slow motion, so it's like this is like some sort of like dark, twisted, alternate world fighting violence and combat. It's like if I were to read something into the character, I would say that this is a part of himself that is warped and actually destructive to who he is. You know, these vices can be self-destructive, and this is maybe the vice of his where self-destruction can happen, which is violence. And the other vices, the gluttony, the excess, all that, those are not the destructive ones, and that's interesting. Evening, Dan. Yes. Yeah, this is lovely. It's awesome. And after everything sort of raises in tension to where everything is moving really slowly, it's dreamlike, it's thick, it finally releases and into a quick breath, and all of a sudden you've got space. There are no bodies, even though he's just like murdered like dozens of people. There are zero bodies around, and so yeah, there's this sort of exhale. And yeah, so if you want really cool, artfully done, and just honestly straight up entertaining samurai movie, I recommend this. It actually is reminiscent of Kurosawa's more optimistic period pieces, and I think it's good stuff. But with that in mind, we can move on to Demon Souls.